Hey everybody, Kyle Hill here, back with another Photography 101. Today's subject is composition, so let's get into it. So I have a little definition of what composition actually is here that I just Googled it up. It says, simply put, composing an image means arranging elements within it in a way that suits the core idea or goal of your work best. What that basically means is you're arranging the objects or people or subject to a certain spot in the photo to make it aesthetically pleasing or meet the goal of the feel of the photo. To do that, you can either move the objects or move yourself to get a better composition. We don't always know the reason for some of these things. Some of the concepts for composition are just proven that it's aesthetic to the eye, and so I'll just be explaining some concepts of composing. So the first concept, and the most generally known concept that you will use most, is called the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is a rule that says there are 3 sections vertically and horizontally in a photo, and you need to align your subject within one of the intersecting lines in those thirds. Here's an example picture, pretty pleasing. And then here is the picture with a grid laid over it. You can see how that was purposely composed within those crossed lines. The next concept is the spiral. I'm not even sure if that's technically what it's called, but I call it the spiral. I'll show you a picture of what it actually is. It's one of those things where, not sure exactly why, but anytime something leads the eye around like that spiral, it's pleasing. And generally, you want to put an element to frame it, and then your payoff is right in the middle of that spiral. And your payoff is your subject, like a person, a car, a product, whatever. So it's framed, and then it's right in that spot right there, spiral. Next concept is the rule of threes, not to be confused with the rule of thirds. The rule of threes, also the rule of odds, it can go either way. It's not concrete, but we just know that when there are 3 subjects in a photo, it is more pleasing than 4 or 2. The reason it's called the rule of odds is if you have more, like if you have a choice between 4, 5, or 6, you should have 5, because odd looks better than even. Here are a few famous photos that use that concept, and you can see how you're not sure exactly why, but it's just a very pleasing photo to look at. All right, next concept is headroom. This one I use all the time. Along with rule of thirds. Headroom refers to the room you put above your subject. I'll show an example of a picture with not enough headroom and one with a good amount of headroom. Some people will creatively choose to put a ton of headroom, and that's really cool sometimes. You can see in the example with not enough headroom how it just kind of makes you feel uncomfortable, like it's not supposed to be there. Just to explain it again, like this above me is headroom. You generally want the subject to be within that lower third line and the headroom to be above them. Next one definitely goes along with headroom, completely goes along with it, is lead room. Lead room, it can also be known as nose room, refers to the space in front of your subject. So generally, let's say you're using the rule of thirds, your subject should be within the bottom corner of that rule of thirds, so their face should have room above it and room in front of it. The concept is if a person is looking at the shorter side of the image and there's a lot of room behind them, it feels like their face is right in front of a wall. If it's like this, they have space, they're comfortable, and it just makes more sense. So we're saving the best for last. This is my favorite, and I think a lot of people's favorite, because it's just magical. And it's called leading lines. Leading lines are when you look down a tunnel and you can just see that tunnel get smaller and smaller and smaller, that's leading lines. It's when you can see the lines that are leading forward. It can be just on the ground, it can be top and bottom, like a tunnel or train tracks. When you look at it, it's really aesthetic. And it doesn't have to be something that's completely obvious. Like this city shot, you can see the buildings are a leading line, but it's just a regular photo. You wouldn't necessarily know that I purposely used leading lines to make it look more aesthetic. So that's leading lines. It's pretty much in the name. It's lines that lead forward. Let me know if you need a deeper explanation on any of these. I'd be glad to do a video on all of them if you need it. Well, that's all for now. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day, and for now, get out of my face.